Hello again. This is Dina, and I am checking in with you on Saturday night, November 4th. We had our stitching meetup today, and we had a great time. There were 16 of us there today. I was really happy about that because there was a change in the date for our meeting this month, and because of my being out of pocket, it wasn't communicated as early in the month as I would have liked for it to have been. And I was a little worried that people may have already made other plans and were saving the second Saturday of the month for the meeting and hadn't thought about it changing this month. So to have 16 there today was great. I was really happy about that. Well, here's what I took with me to stitch at the library. Yesterday, my bingo call was for number 7 on my bingo board, which for me was a sampler for all seasons. And I did my 100 stitches yesterday and I posted it, but I also checked. And as you know, I like to do, I had used a sampler for all seasons in at least 2. Yep, 2. Oh, no, 3. 3 of my acrostics, so all 3 of them. This, I'll remind you what it looks like, a sampler for all seasons. I'm working my way across the top half. I've stitched this block and I've stitched this section down through the first line of text. And I did that because that's about even across. And now I'm working on this block. So I took it with me today because I needed to get 200 more stitches to meet my goal in my daily 30 challenge for the monthly challenge. And this is where I got to. So I wound up stitching the flower portion of this flower. The green stems were there. I had to put the flower in. And then I came across and did this grass and a flower, the flower pot, and the tree trunk. And I had 319 stitches in by then. And so that met my prompt in my daily 30 group. Therefore, it was also enough to meet the prompts in my magazine challenge and my 24 hours cross stitch. So that was great. But it took most of my stitching time today to get that done because I was doing other things with other people. There were, let's see, we did a floss toss for one lady who was there. She wanted some opinions on whether or not the call for fabric and the floss were going to play well together because it didn't look like the picture when she got it together. Her fabric looked a lot darker. Actually, the consensus was we think it'll look even better, but we did things like that. We did a couple of not tutorials, but helping one-on-one individuals, helping someone else read a pattern or figure out a stitching technique that would help them push their project a little further. We had 3 people have finishes today. We had 2 people had a finish of something they've been working on a long time. One was a large project, one was a medium project. And then we had one of our members who got 2 finishes today because she did 2 smalls. She finished one and she did one from scratch. Started it and finished it today. She was stitching. So we had great fun. I have a little bell sound on my telephone that sounds like a little bell ringing, and a hen bell, kind of thing. And so I played that for each of the finishes, and we celebrated with everybody for that. We had our little door prizes, and we talked about what we're going to do for December. So we had a great time. Stitched, went out for lunch, stitched some more. It was a lovely day. The weather was gorgeous and beautiful. And then I had a really nice surprise when I got home. My son had just come in to visit, and he's going to spend the night, and so we're hoping to maybe go out and eat together tomorrow for lunch or, for dinner sometime tomorrow. and I'm looking forward to catching up with him. This is the first time I've seen my son since we left for the cruise. So I'm delighted that he's here. He's feeling better, and I think he'll be, interested in maybe going and getting something to eat with us tomorrow night. So I came up here after visiting with him for quite a while, and I looked and realized that today's call for my bingo number was actually 23, and on that I had put whip closest to a finish. Well, I had, I think, 4 finishes in October, so I was a little puzzled as to what I might consider my whip closest to a finish. So I know that my medium and large projects are too far off to even consider. So I looked at my latest 2 new starts, and I have my hands-on design, Wally the Walrus, that I started at Retreat. And then I also had my North Pole Express, which I started right when I got home from Retreat because it was a whip go call. And I needed it for a prompt. But I've been working on both of those a little bit. As it turns out, I have more stitches in the North Pole Express, but I have fewer stitches total in the pattern for the hands-on design Wally the Walrus. So when I looked at what stitching was left to finish each of them, this one has fewer stitches to finish. So this is my whip closest to a finish, and I pulled it back out today, and I was able to finish the walrus part, not the whole thing, but I finished Wally. And so here he is. Got my 100 stitches just exactly. And I still have him on my Q-snap because I'm using Wally the Walrus in my Daily 30 acrostic. The word is cornucopia, and so I need something for the O, and my designer is hands-on design. So I'm going to use the O in hands-on design to meet the prompt. And that means I need 200 additional stitches to add to the 100 I did today. So I'm going to do that tomorrow. It's too late. It's going on 11 o'clock, and I don't want to try to get 200 stitches in anything at 11 o'clock. I'm going to go to bed. So I'm leaving this on the Q-snap. I've loosened it, but I'm leaving it on there. I've got this out with my pattern and my floss. Everything's ready to sit down tomorrow and stitch on it when I have time. The last thing I'll share with you today is I did get to write our Christmas letter, and my husband, he always does me the favor of editing it, checking it, making sure I don't have any typos or misspelled words if we can catch them. And he also, in many cases, will add in a line or two, of something I forgot to mention, just to kind of make sure we cover a good array of the things we've done last year to catch up for our family and friends that like to get our newsletter. So it's just a 1-page letter, but I try to be very succinct and tell them as much as I can about what we did in the last year and how everybody's doing. And we got that done today. So I've printed it all off. I've got it ready to put in my Christmas cards. And now, sometime this weekend, I hope to address Christmas cards. At least get started on it, depending. Maybe my son watched a football game today and I watched part of it with him. So maybe tomorrow, if he's watching something, I can address cards while we're doing that. We shall see. We already have our bingo call for tomorrow, and that is number 1. And for me, that's 13th Colony. So I'll stitch on that tomorrow if I can after I finish meeting my prompt. So that's my weekend so far and how it's shaping up. I'm going to enjoy visiting with our son tomorrow. And if I don't get to stitch, I have a lot to catch up on, see how things are going, and talk with him. So I hope you get lots of stitching in this weekend. I hope you're doing well. and I hope that I'll be back sometime this weekend with some stitching to share. Happy stitching, everybody. Good morning, everyone. Welcome. It's November 7th, a Tuesday morning, and this morning was an early morning for me. I had to get up and get ready. Coco went to the groomers today at about 8:30, so it was an early morning. we got up, we did some training with her, but my husband was kind enough to drop her off on his way to meet a friend for breakfast and then go hiking. So he'll be doing that this morning, and he'll join me up here after lunch. And so while Coco's away, I'm thinking that it might be a good day to start getting out some of my Christmas decorations and get a jump start on that. But I wanted to catch you up this morning. This week has been an unusual week. I have been stitching for my bingo game with my North Alabama Stitchers group, which requires 100 stitches, but I was normally go ahead and continue stitching on that whip to meet any other prompts before I put it away. And this week I wasn't able to do that. This week I had other obligations that took me away, and I wound up on one day only getting the 100 stitches and having to come back the next day and finish up for my daily 30 group for the prompt there at 300 stitches. And so I have been stitching on projects and having to put them away and do the next day's 100 stitches and then go back to the other project. So I've caught up, and I hope I don't have to do that anymore this week, because it feels a little like I'm behind, like I'm running to catch up or something. But we had some things to do this week. We had some appointments, and then I had some things I wanted to help some friends with, and so it just sort of broke up my stitching time a lot more than normal for me. But I'm caught up now. So what I want to do is go back and share with you. I had worked on Wally the Walrus for one of my bingo calls, and I did 100 stitches on him. But I also had Wally the Walrus down for my daily 30 group, and it was for the O for hands-on design, and so I needed to put another 200 stitches in it, and I looked to see if I had used it in another acrostic, and I did. So, getting the 300 stitches, as you know, is fine. It gets everything done. So, anyway, here's Wally the Walrus. And even though you just saw it this week, I've done a little more work on it to get it to the 300 stitches. So now he has his little ice shelf, and the water is rippling around it. And then the first of the trees I got stitched today, and I did his little whiskers. So that's where we are. Wally the Walrus. I'm doing all 6 of these on the same piece of fabric, as you can see, and hopefully that way they'll all look really good together when I finish them up in the ornaments that they're going to be down the road. In addition to having to go back and work on Wally a second time, yesterday the call was for 13th Colony for my bingo, and I did my 100 stitches, and I posted it in the bingo group, and I had to come back to it again. So I'm on part 2 now. This will remind you of what part 2 looks like, and I am working right around this little island here, and that's how far I've gotten. I'm kind of in the middle of it, of that piece, and here is what I did. I came back and put another 200 stitches in it to get to the total of 3, and so I did 2 shades in the water. You can see a lighter blue and then a little bit of a darker shadow under the boat, and that's where I got to. So I got that done. I love working on this. It's easy stitching, and so I'm always happy to get to pick it back up and work on it. So now, the call for today is Autumn in the Village, and that's my autumn piece on the 36 count. And I will be getting it out here in a minute, and I'll get that done. And I did check, and I'm not using my Autumn in a Village, let's see, for my magazine challenge, but I am using it in 24 hours of cross stitch. So the 100 stitches for my bingo for 24 hours of cross stitch will be just fine. And that will allow me to hit 2 prompts with that today. So that's my next stitch. But I want to talk about something. This is my birthday stitch. You can see the puppy dogs on here because it is I've chosen to do a puppy dog. My friend Glow and I are going to do this together. And for my birthday. And I have done quite a conversion on it. And I'll explain it here in a minute. But this is the little pattern that I have. There's the little button that goes on the top of the tree. It's a little ornament. And so I've invited anyone who wants to stitch an ornament. It could be for any season. Or if you have a whip that has a puppy dog on it or a Christmas whip that you want to stitch on for my birthday, please do. And I don't have a hashtag yet, but I normally do just birthday Sal, in the year. So what I'll do is I will put it in the drop-down box, what the birthday Sal is, and I will also make sure I mention it again, maybe in the next segment or two once I create it, but I need to go in and do that. But I did want to share with you, I showed this once before what my conversions were, but I have a skin tone packet that I won from the Sunshine Stitchers giveaway probably over a year ago. And this is the skin tone that I'm going to use for my dog because this is her hair. She has swirls of white and chocolate, and they're mostly white now, but she still has a few little strands of chocolate in her hair. And that's what I'm going to use for the dog instead of the golden color that they have there. So I'm looking so forward to doing this on my birthday. I'm planning on starting it on my birthday. I may not finish it on my birthday, but this one is a small, so maybe I could finish it by the end of the month. Anyway, that's what I'm going to do for my birthday. It's in December. It's December 14th. I actually have a scrap of fabric that I found in my stash that is called Haystack. It's by Color and Cotton. It was a remnant, or I cut this off of a remnant for a project that I did, and I just hung on to it, and here it is. The ornament will fit, and so I will be stitching that starting December 14th. So I have it kitted up, and I have it in my little project bag that's my puppy dog face, so I know every pattern I put in here is for a puppy dog, for Coco. So that's what I'm doing right now. I think after that, my plan, while I wait for my husband to get home to help me get things out for Christmas, is to go through my original pulls for my new start next year. After the retreat, getting so many beautiful patterns from Kathy Haberman and purchasing a couple of patterns in the shop, I want to go back through my Whip Go pulls for next year, and I want to see if I need to, swap any out. So I may do that this afternoon so that I can finalize my Whip Go board for next year. And that way, in one of the segments maybe this week, I could share it with you. So, planning. Planning for next year. All right, that'll be it for now. If I have anything else to share with you that I stitched today, I'll come back and let you know. But in the meantime, happy stitching, everybody. Well, good afternoon. I am back. I got some stitching done. I'm excited to share it with you. This was a call on my bingo, and I was thinking it was today's call, but y'all, I was further behind than I thought. This was yesterday's call. It's Autumn in the Village. And you know, I had started in the center. I had worked on that blue house in the center, and I got the stitching done, but I couldn't do the back stitch because you got to stitch everything next to the edge of the house to really do the back stitching. So that's what I started on today. I came up here and I started doing stitches that were right next to the house. So I would just pick a color and I would stitch everything in that color. And then I'd pick the next color and I'd stitch everything in that color. So all total, I did stitch 122 stitches. I just needed 100, and so I ran until I used, you know, the thread out and hit all of those symbols at the bottom of the house. But I love this. I love it on this fabric flare fabric with the little tiny flecks of color in it. The name of it is Autumn, and I'm loving it. So I'm going to put it away. I do like stitching that 36 count. Once I get started on it, it goes really, really well, but it's tiny, so I try just to do some small parts of it at a time. So now that brings us up to today. Today's call for my bingo is small gift. So I'll be pulling that out now and try to get 100 stitches in it. But I did take a break. While I was having lunch here at the house, I sat down and I made my plans for my new starts for 2024. I had done a first blush at it a while back, and I think I mentioned to you I was planning 42 starts. And today when I counted them up, I only had about 33 in my basket. And I thought, what else was I thinking? And then I remembered it. My 12 ornaments for one per month added 12 to that number. And so I started looking back through my list. And I realized, based on what I had in my basket and the 12 ornaments and some new patterns that I got, that I needed to swap a few things out. So I did. But I now have, again, 42. I don't know why I landed on 42. I think that's just, I was picking everything I wanted to start, and it just turned out to be 42. So I'm going to let it rest for a little while, and then I'm going to pull everything out again, put it in order, what goes with Whip Go, where my 12 ornaments are. I am planning on doing May Monday, and there are only 4 Mondays in May this year, so I have got 4 new starts for May. I am thinking that I'm going to start some gift ornaments in June. And if I get all of them started, that would be 4 new starts. I am planning Christmas in July. But I'm planning something new and different this year. I have considered doing this for the last 2 years and haven't planned ahead enough to be able to do it. And so this year, I decided I really want to do this. It sounds so much fun. So, LaDeDa from, I think it's Coffee and Stitches with LaDeDa is her new channel name. She does this every year. She calls it a 3 months to the finish line, something like that. And I believe she starts it in September. That's when I've got it written down. And she picks 6 of her whips that she would really like to push to a finish that year. And she puts them on she puts pictures on them on a piece of paper, but basically you can see what all 6 of them are. And she takes one die and she rolls it. And whatever number it comes up to, that's the number of her project that she has to stitch on for, and I don't know if she does that for a week or for 3 days or exactly how long. I'll have to go back and review one of her videos. And she stitches on it and then shows you the progress and then rolls the die again. knowing me, until I get really close to a finish, 3 days is about what I enjoy stitching on something. So I think I'll do mine probably for every 3 days, which would allow me to roll the die at least twice a week. I think that would be fun. Now, there's also AB Singo in the month of September. And the nice part about that is it's only 100 stitches, and it would allow me to keep touching all my other whips. I wouldn't put those 6 that I'm pushing to a finish on AB Singo. I would just, you know, I'd put 6 different things than what I'm going to be doing on the board. So if you're interested in doing that, I encourage you to go and watch her videos that are running around, I think in September, October, November. I think she may like to do Christmas stitching in December. But anyway, if I'm remembering wrong, forgive me. But that's what I'm hoping to do. I'm not a big sampler stitcher, and although I always try to stitch on whatever sampler I'm working on in September, I don't put the whole month for samplers simply because I don't stitch that many. But I think that will be kind of a fun thing to do. And I wanted to give you the hashtag for the 12 ornaments because Dee, my friend Dee, who actually came up with this idea, she has a hashtag already, and I did not know that. So I want to share with you the information that she sent me because I think it will be very helpful for you. I'm going to pull up her message here. Okay, she says, feel free to share this and invite other people to join. So, they don't have to be Christmas, as I said. Christmas, Halloween, Easter, or seasonal, it doesn't matter. So it just has to be a holiday or season emphasis. It can be no larger than 6 by 6, so definitely ornament size. You don't have to finish or FFO any of them, but you do stitch on them. You post a picture each month of your ornament. Feel free to show starts, progress pictures, and or finishes if you can finish those. The hashtag for all of these posts are hashtag Everything Ornaments 2024. And that I will put down in the box below so that you can see it. And if I can figure out how, I'll put it across the screen. I'm not always sure I can do that. And then you can, if you just want to post the picture of what you're working on that month, you can. But the main thing is just to share which ornament you decided to do. And if you are inclined, share your progress at the end of the month so we can see how you did and we can encourage each other. So I think that'll be great fun. I just wanted to make sure I shared that with you once I found that from Dee and got all the lowdown from her on how that's going to work. So I'm going to go back now and pull Small Gift and see if I can get 100 stitches in it. It is on my daily 30 group for 300 stitches. I just don't know how much more stitching I'm going to get done today. I'm waiting on my spouse, as I said earlier, to see if he can bring up some Christmas boxes so I can get started on some of the decor in the house. But he is still hiking, so that may have to wait till tomorrow. And if so, I'll get a lot more stitching done. I'll be back and let you know. In the meantime, happy stitching, everybody. Well, I'm back again. I am happy to let you know that I was able to finish another stitching, and now I've caught up completely with today's bingo call. Today's bingo call was Small Gift by Imaginating. I think the original artwork is Mary Englebrect, but I'm using it for the eye in Imaginating for my daily 30 group. and I used it in the 24 hours of cross stitch for R for reindeer, and I used it for the Y for young girl. So now in that one I had to take my picture at 100 stitches when I posted for bingo, used it for the first letter, and then I had to pick up where I left off and finish my 300 stitches that I needed for the Daily 30 group to count my second letter in the 24 hours of cross stitch. So 3 prompts today, and I got a total of 307 stitches in here. So you may be able to tell just a little bit of difference. I got all of the blue colors in her bottom of her dress or her coat. All that's left now is white right here. And then I'll be through with her dress. Then I came up here and I did this reindeer. I finished in some of the gaps. I did this leg. That's why I did this a while ago. And then I came over here and I added the second color in this reindeer's leg and worked my way up and started on his little head. So you can see his face forming there and his ear. That's the inside of his ear. So really making progress here. My thought process is to finish this little reindeer, and then because I've done this one as far up as the snow is going to go, I will come over here and do how far the snow is going to go, where the tree's going to start. And then I've got just fill-in stitching to do down here. And I'm not going to fill it in the whole square that they did for an entire square frame. I think I'm going to do mine just sort of around this way to where it just looks like there's snow, but I don't want to necessarily do all that white. It's just way too much white, and I don't think you need it, so that's how I'm going to do it. But good progress today. Really felt like I had a lot done. And then once I finish these main pieces on this half and the snow, I can roll everything back down because the tree starts around here to go up on this side, and this reindeer is the only thing on this side. So there will be some blocks of color in there. So I'm trying to get these little pieces done that have more confetti in them right now. But it's a lovely, lovely piece. Okay. Well, today I did a little more planning. I went through and looked at right now what I would consider my year of whips for next year. And I've identified 6 that I would love to finish. And this is one of them. This small gift would be one of them. So the more I can get on it this year, all the better. I hope you've had a great day of stitching. I certainly have. With Coco being gone at the groomers and I didn't have to go and walk and stop and play and do all that, it really gave me time to stitch. And my husband was off hiking, so, you know, it was quiet. It was great. I enjoyed it. It was a good day. I hope you've had a good day. And I will talk to you next time I have something to share. Hopefully tomorrow. Happy stitching, everybody. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back. It's time for an update. I've been stitching this morning. Took Coco for a nice long walk, and my husband is out tilling the flower bed to plant some bulbs to come up next year. And so I've been left alone to my own devices. I've been stitching. So today I have the call for my bingo, but I haven't started on it yet. It is, believe it or not, Polar Bear Plunge, and I just got through working on that. So I'm probably going to let that sit maybe until tomorrow, because I want to get some other things done. I've already worked on it pretty close to today, so I'm going to give myself permission to go off road and do what I want to do. So the first thing I decided I wanted to do was to hit my whip go board, because I have, you know, 3 things to do for whip go this month. One had already been done. So one of my whip go calls on my regular board was number 8, was to start one of the 2 remaining Sew Together series that I'm doing from Jeanette Douglas. And this one is Buttons and Bows. And I'll show you what it looks like. I think it's precious. And so I'm putting it in the middle spot on my second row. That will be the second framed piece. I'm going to frame these in 2 long, sort of long, skinny pieces, so they can be a pair that I can put up. Taking it out so you can see the whole thing. But anyway, so today I started a new section I hadn't worked on, because that was my whip go call. And I also said for my whip go call, I wanted to stitch on it for either 500 stitches or 5 hours, and today I actually did both. I got over 500 stitches. I got 522 stitches in here, and it took just over 5 hours because I also had to work out my conversion. I forgot about that. But here's where I'm at. Those are the first 3 I did, and these are being done with sulky threads. And here is the buttons and bows that I got started. I did the entire border, and it matched the first time. Thank you, thank you. That was such a relief. And then I did buttons and bows, the lettering. So after calculating up the conversion, I'm trying to use the same colors all the way across and just substitute the colors I have for the closest of what is called for, and make sure that they kind of go together. So that's what I'm doing. But to take the pattern and the original and the colors I have, and then try to make sure, what am I going to do, what am I going to do. So I will tell you, I am doing something myself. You see, I've got 2 blue with an orange in the middle, and then over here I'm going to have 2 orange with a blue in the middle, and here I've got dark lettering and then light lettering, and up here I have light, light, dark. I wasn't thinking about that when it happened. I should have just done this one light as well, and then I could have done them all light. So when I went below, I decided to do dark and then light, light. So I'm trying to make it have either an opposite mirrored effect or something, though, that gives me a little variety, but, you know, puts it together. But there is my progress today, and that represents 522 stitches, as I said, and that's a good start. And now I will put it away. I'll make it a new whip. It'll go in my whip pile, and I need to look at my whip go for next year and put this in there. I'll take out one of the new starts and I'll put this in, because I definitely want to continue this. And in December, chances are I may not finish both of them, because in December I have the final Sew Together series to start for the December whip go. And so what's left this month for whip go are 2 biggies: pandemic and nativity. So my thoughts are that I worked on my first whip go call today, and I am thinking that I may pull out pandemic and start working on it. I have to put 5 hours in it. I've already done that several times this year with all the stitching that I've done, but since I am trying to push it to a finish, I felt like it would be fairer and more advantageous to me to just wait until it was called to start counting the hours. And that would allow me to motivate myself to put 5 more hours in it or 500 more stitches in it, which would be pretty good. So I think I'm going to pull that out today and work on it. So if I get any substantial progress on that today, or if I decide to go back and do my 100 stitches so I stay caught up, either way, I'll come back and share it with you. Happy stitching. Good evening, everybody. Welcome back. It is later on November the 8th, and I am here to share with you the stitching that I was able to accomplish this afternoon. I've been working hard, and it helped that I was working on a monochromatic piece. So I pulled out my long dog sampler. This is the one that I needed for my whip go call for this month, 5 hours or 500 stitches. And the other thing I needed it for was my daily 30 group, which was 300 stitches. So I decided to count stitches since I needed the stitches for 2 different groups. And I got busy working on that corner that I'm trying to finish on the first row across. And I am happy to report I didn't finish the corner, but I got a lot of progress on it. I'm going to show you what I did. But I have 553 stitches in this today, which means I got my whip go goal, and I have over enough stitches, well over enough, to hit my daily 30 goal as well. So let's look down here in this corner. It's hard for you to see because it's gotten into the lighter colors down here, but I finished this border, and then I came over here and I attached where I had left off over here, and I stitched from, this is where I left off. I stitched all of this and all of this. And so the next time that I pick this up, I'll come back here and I'll join up right in here, because this is all by itself now. It's done. And then I'll come up here and I'll join this, and I think it runs this way, but it'll fill up a little part of that hole. Then I'm going to come back over here, and I've got just a little bit. This is going to be the bottom right here. So I'm going to go through and stitch just that little bit all the way across. And in some cases, I'm not even going to start the motif that goes below it because it only has 2 or 3 stitches that will show. So I'm going to let that be the end of the bottom of mine, and let that be my pillow. Just that little extra bit to finish off the edge at the bottom. So that may not make it by the end of the year, but I sure would love it if I could. So I'll be pulling it out a little more frequently now that I'm getting closer and closer, and I'll be trying to get it finished. So we shall see. Wish me luck. That meant two things, my whip go and my daily 30 group. I didn't use it anywhere else, so it was just those 2. But had a good evening. Walked Coco again this evening, and my husband's just about to head off to choir, and so I'm gonna go get some supper, and then I may actually watch a little TV tonight. We shall see. I hope you've had a great day of stitching. I'm hoping to have another great day tomorrow. I only have one whip go call left for the month, and that's my nativity. So hopefully I'll get to pull that out maybe later this week. But I'm working really hard to finish all these acrostics. So I'm making a lot of progress. With my daily 30, I actually only need 2 more letters. So that's great. And I did not pull out my 100 stitches today, my polar bear plunge. I may wind up doing it after I eat. We'll see how I feel. Anyway, I'll talk to you tomorrow, I hope. And in the meantime, happy stitching, everybody. Good afternoon, everyone. It is November the 9th, and I'm here to give you an update on what I've been working on this morning. Well, if you watched my segment yesterday, I wasn't in the mood to pick up my Wally the Walrus again because I had just been working on it. So this morning, first thing, I decided I'm catching up with my bingo. I'm going to do yesterday's and today's. So yesterday's was Wally the Walrus. I had to do 100 stitches. I wound up getting 126. And what I did were the 3 bright green trees down around Wally. There's still more trees to come. There's 2 more under here. And then there will be 6 trees up around the arched top of the ornament. So there's still a number of trees, but I'm getting there. And 100 stitches at a time, apparently. But there you go. I got that taken care of, so that caught me up from yesterday. So I was able to post that this morning and check out the number that was called for today. This one you haven't seen in a very long time. I started this because it was a gift from a friend, my friend Glow. She had stitched it and she sent it to me to stitch, and it is beautiful and it's just simple and lovely. And for some reason, I don't know why, I decided to stitch it over 1. So when I pulled it out today, it looked so small. I had to really look at it, and I figured it out that I had stitched it over 1. This is Love Abide by LaDeDa. And I started in the upper left-hand corner, which I like doing. And the sentiment says, "In our home, let love abide and bless all those who step inside." So today, I stitched the little bird and then the word who. And if you notice, the colors in the words change. Some colors are 3371, and then some are a different color. And I don't remember what that is right off the top of my head because I hadn't looked at it this morning. But it's true confession time. This bird is in the wrong place. This bird should be further over this way, a few stitches. However, when you look at the pattern, there are 2 birds on this end. So if I'm too far over, I'll just do the 1 and let it be balanced. I may have enough room to do both of them and have it come out about the same place. So we'll just see how that goes. But I don't think it's going to mess anything up. And I was not going to frog out that entire bird that's 1 over 1. Not going to do it. So there you go. I'm doing mine 1 over 1 just to make it a smaller piece. But I think that's why anyway. But I tell you what, it was fun to stitch on today. I hadn't touched this one in a very long time. And I wound up getting 131 stitches in it because I wanted to finish out the word, the word who, because the next word is in a different color. So we shall see when I get to pull it out again. It's been fun. I enjoyed it. And it reminded me of how much I've enjoyed this project when I get a chance to stitch it. So I'm going to have to look for opportunities to put it on my cross sticks so that I get to pull it out every month. It was good to renew my interest in it. So that's the required stitching of the day that's time sensitive. And now I think the next thing I'm going to do, since I just finished a whip goal yesterday with pandemic, is I'm going to look and see what else I have left in my prompt stitching, my goal stitching, and if there's something in there I just really want to, gravitate toward, or if I just want to take one of the pieces that I want to push closer to a finish this year and see if I can put some work in it. My only whip go call left is Nativity. So I have all month to do that one. But I only have about 4, maybe 5 projects to work on to finish all of my acrostics. And it's funny, I don't know why I push to do that so hard at the first of the month. I think it's because then I like to go in and do the challenges that are the bi-weekly challenges. And I haven't started back on those since I had COVID and didn't work on any for a little while. So I may go read those today and see if one of them strikes my fancy. And it'll be a surprise when I come back and let you know. I hope you're having a great day of stitching, and I hope to see you a little bit later today. Good evening, everyone. Welcome. It is the 11th of November, a Saturday, and I am about to have a good evening with my son. He's coming up this evening, and the timing could not be better. I had another bingo call today for a whip go call, and since I just worked on my pandemic for my whip go call, I decided to do it again because I was getting close to a finish. And I have been pouring myself into this whip for the last 2 days, and I'm here to tell you it's done. This is the portion that I'm going to do. Now, let me loosen that just a little bit so you can see the whole thing. But these are the first 5 pages of Pandemic plus the top section of the pages below, and I'm hoping I can get the whole thing in there for you to see. There we go. Now, let's talk about this piece. As you know, I'm using DMC number 93 to do this, and when I first started, I thought the variegation was absolutely beautiful, and then the more I looked at it, unless you get really close, like there, you can't see all the intricate detail of those really light pieces. I didn't notice that in the beginning, I think because I didn't have so many big blocks of it. I hadn't figured out how to spread it evenly yet, and then when I did, the lighter colors really started showing up, and I wasn't thrilled with how that was going to look on the wall. And for you to be looking at it from way back here, I thought you would lose all the definition. So I made the decision that I was going to shorten it considerably, that I was going to find a good cutting point based on the motifs. I was looking at these right here in the middle, and I wanted to be right under them, and that's what I did. And so I have just in the last 2 days finished this bird and all this flower section right in here. And then I came back over here and I did the entire bottom border that I felt like it needed because it's got one all around. And so that's what I did. So now this beautiful piece is ready. It's ready to be made into a pillow, and I have a very short bench in my sewing room, and I'm going to measure and see just how that would fit as a bolster pillow there. I may have to add some of the fabric, you know, on each end as well to make it fit better. But I really like it, and that way I can use it in my sewing room and I can see it every day. And when I want to see the real intricate detail of it, you just pick it up and look at it, you know. It's gonna be a beautiful addition to my sewing room. And with that, I finish, I think my oldest whip, I started it in 2020 for the pandemic. And here it is, 2023, almost 2024. I actually thought when I started working on it this week that I would get it close to a finish, but I didn't think I would have time to finish it before the end of the year. But because my bingo game called it twice and I was able to do those 100 stitches each day and then just keep working on it because it was my call for the day, I just kept going and kept going. I mean, I put in 715 stitches alone on Friday. And what I did Friday is I came across this bottom and I brought each design at least down even with this if I could, or as close to it. Like this finished off this motif, and anything underneath that would have just been 2 or 3 X's of another design, and I just left it. I did feel like there was a little too much open space at this end, so I added in a couple of dragonflies. I found them on one of the pattern pages, and I don't think I've had a dragonfly on here. I've had butterflies, but I didn't think I'd had a dragonfly. So I went ahead and put in a couple of dragonflies on here just to help fill in that space and make it look a little more like the other places on the piece. So I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled to have it done. I had started some new things for my Whip Go call. I had started a new start, and I had also started a new start at the retreat when I started my Wally the Walrus. And so with those new starts and my Whip Go things, I was back up to 20 whips. I didn't stay at 17 very long, did I? But now I'm back down to 19. So I'm below 20 once again. I do have a couple of smalls that I just mentioned that I may get to work more on before the end of the year. And so I could very well end up the year below 20. And I would love to do that because I am going to start so many next year. But I have decided to do something fun. Robin Hall put up a event today called Turkey Trot. And we are to start it on November 19th. And you're to stitch on any bird that you want. And I think you have something like 6 days, 6 or 7 days. It states it in the event in order to stitch either 5 hours or 500 stitches on this bird pattern, any bird pattern you want. So I'm going to pull out my Thanksgiving that I have in my bag for next year, see if I've got something in there with a bird on it, like a turkey or something. And if not, I'll look in my other Thanksgiving pieces. But I want to participate in that. I think that'll be fun. My friend Donna's agreed to do that with me. And so I will have another new start, but hopefully a finish as well. And so that's kind of what's been going on. I have been working really hard on Pandemic, and I just am so excited to get it finished. So thanks for letting me share that with you. Now, once I make it into a pillow, I'll of course bring it back and let you see it. But for now, I'm ecstatic. I've made that finish. My son should be here any minute, and that'll be a great start to the rest of my weekend. So I will talk to you soon. Hopefully have more to share with you. I'm going to cut this off, make this the last segment of the video. I do have a little footage of Coco playing with the sticky tape that my husband gave her. Well, enjoy your stitching. Have a great weekend. I hope you get to do something either relaxing or fun this weekend or both. And I look forward to my weekend, and I hope to start a new vlog for you for next week. So, happy stitching, everybody.
What is it? Get it. Go ahead, get it. You can get it. Oh. is it? Oh, sticky tape. Get it. You can do it.